What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. We are all back in the house. Do not worry, Northside's on his way. Also joining me tonight is the lovely Jessica Black. Jess, how are you, man? It's been time. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Another year that I'm
Happy New
here to
Year.
watch my team play and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, even though it's not the best time, we're going to have some fun. Let's have some fun. No need to be like devastated. We're all here. It's 2024 and yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
Listen, I admire the positivity. I love the optimism. And that's why I brought Babs on, man, to try and cheer me up. What are you saying, bro? We good?
Well, man, Mr. Optimism or something. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the invite as always. Wishing everyone a happy new year. Dan obviously recovering from his hangover.
Mm.
But yeah, let's talk Arsenal, innit? Let's talk Arsenal.
Yeah, let's talk, man. Igal, what are you telling me, bro?
I'm good, man. Happy New Year's, everybody. Hope everybody has a blessed year. And you know what? Hopefully, Arsenal can win something for us to make us even feel like any better in 2024, right?
Yeah, man. Let's hope so, bro. Northside's going to be on. He's literally just texted me now saying 1 minute he'll join us. I mean, Jess, let's go, ladies first. It's not been the best of Christmas and New Year as far as Arsenal are concerned, and I just want to hear about where you're at and where you're looking at the last two performances as an Arsenal fan right now, because there's a lot of people that are a little bit question marks again over what we're trying to achieve. And I think that there are some that have gone proper positive, like, don't worry, it's only 2 games. There are some that have serious concerns, and I've got to say that I'm one of them. But I think a lot of people on this channel will know my say, so it's interesting to get different perspectives. So where are you at, Jess?
I mean, listen, I think both games were really, really different. I think West Ham was strange because we had all the chances in the world and we couldn't put it in the back of the net. And they came down like twice and scored. And then Fulham was like one of those really weird games that we see sometimes. Like they're few and far between, but when we see them, it's like, what is this? Where nobody looks like they've even played together before. There's some really bad performances and we just completely crumble. So in regards to those games, like it's hard to analyze them because they were so different. But all in all, I think this entire season has felt a little bit underbaked, if that makes sense. Like at the beginning of last season, we were pretty much as good as we were ever going to be from the beginning of the season till the World Cup. And then we kind of slid down from there. This season, I think that we all anticipated, or at least hoping, that we were starting off slower and that we would eventually build to like as good as we were going to be or much better. And it doesn't necessarily feel like that. It actually feels like we've stayed at a certain level. And now with certain players not there and some poor form from others, we've gone down. We've gone down. Our defense is not carrying the team anymore. And it's been all season that I think we've been asking for the attack to start to click, and they just haven't. You're looking at players like Martinelli and you're like, wow, I never would have imagined that Martinelli would be this poor. Like I would have never imagined it. So there's some questions. I don't think it's a blip, if that makes sense. Like I don't think we were in such great form and then this is just like 2 bad results or whatever. For me, this is more of like maybe a combination of like not managing the squad properly and also not bringing in the right players. And now it's just kind of like boom. And now we're in the January transfer window and we can't even move because we spent a lot of money and probably some of those signings weren't the best use of funds. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. We can play better, of course, but I think our best is still probably not going to be enough based on what I've seen so far this season. That makes sense.
Does make sense. Certainly looking that way at the moment. Babs, listen, man, me and you agree to disagree on quite a lot when it comes to Arsenal, man. So fill me with some optimism about why I should still stick by what's going on right now, because there's a lot that I ain't getting, bruv. I don't understand what I'm seeing. I think the change of style has been bizarre. I don't think there's any department that's been fixed right now. I look at the goalkeeping situation, which is something that everyone's going on about, and rightly so. I don't think it's an upgrade on Ramsdale. I don't think we've got any defenders at the moment that I look at and have fullback wise anyway, any faith in. I think the best defensive left back we've got is out on loan. I don't get the Kai Havertz thing. The midfield for me is still not quite fixed. And up top, we're still trying to force Eddie Nketiah, who hasn't scored an away goal in over a year, man. So there's a lot for me to be concerned about, bruv. But where are you at, man?
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns there for sure. The way I look at it right now is you have to isolate, as Jess said, both games into almost different stories. One was a game where we were, I would say, unlucky. Against West Ham, we made so many chances, opened them up, and it's one of those games where you kind of make chances, miss a few, and then they go smash or grab it. Happens before we seen it in football. The Fulham game was a real concern because I saw a lack of intensity, lack of the basics, the fundamentals, and because I'd say that's the first time this season I could say that we've been out physiqued, right? I want to treat that as a one-off game in terms of that, the basics, the fundamentals. But that was my real concern, because I was like, listen, if you're fighting for a title and you've just lost a game at home, regardless how the result was, you got to come out with intensity. How would Man City play? How would Liverpool play when they were, obviously they're fighting for a title now as well, but in previous years? That was my real concern. But I think ultimately, in terms of the attack and the, not making of chances or whatever that is, it was improving. It has been improving over the course of the season. We've seen it, from the Wolves game, the Brighton game, it was getting better and better. And even against, look at the games we lost, in terms of Villa. That was a game where, again, I thought we were the better team. And we were making chances and limiting them. You go to Anfield, and we saw them yesterday. These guys are a crazy team attacking-wise. We went to there and we limited them to one big chance all game, which was that counter-attack where it was a mistake from Odegaard or it was Zinchenko. So, ultimately, I see the concerns, and I look at the points. We're on like 40 points, which is on course for an 80-point season. But you have to look around us. And apart from yesterday, Liverpool, they've been very good this season, but I don't think they've been convincing, neither of Man City, neither of Arsenal. So it's a matter of which of those three teams can sort themselves out the most towards the final part of the season. And of course, if you can sign someone in January, it'd be massive. I actually look at it more of, as much as I love a striker, maybe signing a left number 8, different to Havertz, more similar to Xhaka, could provide us something better than what we have this season and almost change it up more. But I get the concerns. But I want to obviously look at the course of the season and see how we've actually improved our attacking numbers. And then obviously the last 2 games, when you lose games, you have a narrative in your mind. It'll start to back it up. It'll go, we actually are poor. But they could have gone easily the other way in terms of the West Ham game for sure.
It's difficult for me, Agar, to kind of get on with what Babs is saying about the improvement of the attack, because for me, that's been where it's definitely not been improved. I understand what Babs is saying, like it started poor, now we're starting to see them score again, but I've been really disappointed. And I don't put it down to the individuals, Agar. I put it down to this change of style, because nobody can sit there and tell me that Martinelli and Saka and Jesus are now just poor players and Odegaard just ain't it anymore. There's something wrong with the 4 of them in the way that we're playing as a style. Now, I understand what people were saying when we have changed the style but I look at it, Agal, and I think we've scored less goals, we've conceded more goals, and there's not really any way that I can say that last year's form is going to come and be in the next part of this season. So I don't know where you're at, bro. I don't know if you saw this coming. I don't know if you think it's a blip. Where is your head at right now, man?
I think we have to look at the last 2 games and say to ourselves, obviously, when we're not getting the result, we can look back and say, oh, all this control and all these chances that we created were for nothing. But early in the season, I felt like we had different issues. I felt like we weren't creating enough chances early in the season. And then the game against West Ham, we create all those chances. We don't finish our dinner. It's like, you kind of like, oh, it's just a blip. But then the second game versus Fulham is more of an eye opener to me. I'm looking at the situation and I'm saying to myself, first of all, we can't compare everything to last season and say we expect it to be the exact same as last season, where we pick up 50 points in our first 20 games or something like that. That's not realistic. But what we can say is we need to see the same level of problem solving in the final third, where whenever we face a defense with a low block, we always find a way to unlock it, or at least it seemed like there was that connectivity. They're almost moving in motion. Everyone kind of understood each other. That's where I feel like we're the most off. We're not as in sync as we were last year, and I think that's due to the fact that we don't have as many players. We've had one major player come out of that side in Xhaka, but also that has affected how we play on the right and on the left. So with Xhaka being gone, you now have Martinelli having to pick up different positions on the pitch. You have Kai Havertz taking up different positions on the pitch, and it affects not only the left-hand side, but it also affects how the right-hand side operates and how they create their chances. So I just feel like this can only come with more consistency and continuity within each other. And I don't think you're going to just automatically click and learn how to play with each other. Majority of that team that was there last year were working with each other for at least a year before it clicked to the level that it did. And what I mean is, talking about Xhaka, talking about Partey, they didn't work well together for the first couple of years. So I think right now we're just learning the growing pains of Arteta and the board making some risky moves by retooling the whole midfield. But I guess we had to, because Xhaka wanted to leave.
Northside, let me bring you in, bruv. there's been a lot of people. Let's have it right. There's been a lot of people that have come for you about some of the things you've said. I know that doesn't affect you, bro. But there are a lot of people that have said that you're talking rubbish and that actually you need to chill and that the squad's great. Don't worry about it. It's a 9 out of 10 window. And to be fair, I get this as well. Whenever I say anything to criticize Mikel Arteta, it's like I'm a criminal. It's mad. But some of the stuff you've said is actually starting to come to fruition now in terms of the squad depth. That is one thing. Definitely, that's a problem. When you're bringing on Nelson and you're looking at Eddie starting, who hasn't scored an away goal in over a year, this kind of stuff starts to actually come to fruition to what you're saying. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you where your head's at. I think your head's still the same as it was a few weeks ago and a few months ago. But what have you learned from the last 2 games, my friend?
What I've learned is this fan base never learns, which is why I come here with confidence, which is why I speak with chest every time I speak, because I don't just speak just to speak. And they don't want to see it. They'll rather think with their heart than think with their head. Start of the season, a lot of these top gooners, a lot of them, and a lot of people get behind this. The things that I have, I've used my channel, to literally gather up all the information on what's popular and what is said around this fan base and what does everybody get behind instead of thinking for themselves. Start of the season, a lot of Arsenal fans was putting us up to win Champions League and the Premier League. A lot of Arsenal fans said that we bridged the gap. A lot of Arsenal fans got very giddy when we won the Community Shield. A lot of Arsenal fans told me that this bench is fixed. A lot of Arsenal fans told me that this season we're going to do it. We're going to get over the line. Trust Mikel Arteta. We're playing a new style of football, controlled football. They're telling me, oh, but we got more possession, as if possession wins games. Hate to say it, because I've said it so many times. I want to be wrong, but I know I'm right. I know I'm right. And I know the way that I say it rattles people. I don't care. I do not care. Because until we come as a collective and demand better from this club, instead of trying to call out other fans that are raising the standards for this club to win something after 20 years of not winning a major honor, the quicker we'll see improvements. Because for me, in a lot of these games, we had a lot of possession. I've told, man, possession doesn't win you games. People are telling me, oh, but we've had all these chances and shots and we just failed to put it away. The last clinical player that we had at Arsenal was Aubameyang. We never replaced him. We replaced Lacazette for Jesus. They're very similar. Jesus is an upgrade. But when you're talking about output as a striker, which is what you rate strikers on, it's the same output. He's just a better footballer. Don't want to listen. Telling me that no, Odegaard can do a job. I've been telling you. When the going gets tough, this guy goes missing. He's a comfortable player. Yeah, when your back's up against it, doesn't show up. Been telling, man, we don't have rotation for the centre backs. Yeah, which we don't, because when we rotated the squad for the PSV game, the only rotation we didn't do is the centre backs. We don't have quality rotation. When I'm telling people that Reece Nelson can't do a job and why did we resign him, people are justifying it to me. When I told you Nketiah ain't good enough, and now we're talking about, oh, maybe going and getting Osimhen, now back your boy. Because when I was outraged about Nketiah getting a new contract, people are justifying him to me. But now it looks like they're coming aboard. When I was criticizing before the start of the season, oh, you're toxic and negative. But then everybody's coming out saying there's very similar things to me now. And now they're telling me, let's go in January and get business done. When I wanted players last January, they told me this ain't FIFA. They told me you can't just go out there and get the players that are necessary. I told you that we need a lot of signings. No, but you can't do this or you can't do that. FFP, they're screaming now. FFP. Okay, cool. If you care about FFP and we got limited money, why'd you get behind the signing of Lokonga, the signing of Kivio, and players like that ain't good enough? Re-signing El Nenes and Reece Nelsons and players like that. If you're on limited money, use your money correctly. Because now what you've got is a bunch of players that ain't worth the money we bought them for. Now you're trying to get rid of them. So which players are you getting rid of? Oh, the players you told me on the bench that are fix the bench, that can do a job. So why did you justify them to me? Because if you rate them so much, you wouldn't want to get rid of them in January. You ain't saying that we're going to need to get rid of Saka or Saliba in January. Oh, no, it's the same bench I told you that ain't good enough. These men will never learn. These men telling me, oh, XG about Havertz. Oh, we missed Havertz against West Ham. Well, it was available against Fulham. What did I tell you? XG Merchant ain't good enough. But they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. Yeah? Oh, but we can go with Jesus. He's never been a gunman. But man, don't want to listen. Zinchenko's a liability. He got cooked against Aston Villa, cooked against West Ham. Man, don't want to listen. Oh, but now he's a liability. Some people saying getting Tierney back. Nah. The abuse that comes my way, I hope you man stay with the bench and the team that you man told me that I'm toxic and negative to judge. Because for me, constructive criticism goes way further than just gassing things and just trying to make it fit. I say it because I got a reason. Any point I make, I can back it up. When we're looking at creative spark, people are justifying Zinchenko creative spark. He's got 1 assist in 17 appearances. Is that good enough? Our midfield, our 2 highest midfield creators have got 5 assists together, Odegaard and Fabi Vieira. Is that consistent? Is that good enough? Our strike force is getting outdone by Callum Wilson, Chris Wood, Mbeumo, Nicholas Jackson, Ollie Watkins, Isak, Chan, Bowen, Solanke. Did Top Reds tell me that these players were better than the players that we have this season? But they're outdoing us. When we're talking about assistants, James Ward-Prowse, Kufau, Madison, Cunha, Gallagher, Andres Pereira, Brennan Johnson, McNeil, Matoma, Cole Palmer are all created more assists than everyone barring Saka. But apparently everything's fixed here. Everything's incredible. Cool. Okay. Don't say I didn't tell you so. I'll let everybody else talk because I said enough. Last time I was talking is because I'm talking too much. Cool. Let me know what the excuse is because these men are shoehorning themselves out of excuses. This manager ain't good enough. This manager ain't good enough. And I wish I was wrong because if I'm wrong, Arsenal win a major honour. And all I care about for this club is to win major honours. Yeah, but I'm not going to delude myself. If it ain't good enough, I'm going to call it out. So let's hear the excuses. Let's hear it. If they're not convinced yet, end of the season, we'll talk again because I don't go missing. I don't go hiding. So we'll see.
All right, bro. I want to know, what's your solution, though? You've said a lot of things, but you haven't brought any solutions to the table or how you think we can fix this. So what do you think is the solution? Is it just to get rid of the manager? Because I don't think that's going to happen this season.
And all the players, because none of them are any good, apparently.
And also, how can you just sit here and say, oh, you back these signings? Everybody's back signings. You don't think Man City fans back the signings of Gomez and Calvin Phillips? Everyone gets signings wrong. It's just.
Are we talking about new players or are we talking about re-signing
Oh,
contracts?
you mentioned guys like Nuno Tavares and Lokonga before they signed. You backed them.
No, I didn't. Please click me up if you can find it.
Oh, did you not just mention?
I didn't back those signings.
No. That's not what I said. I said you said fans are backing signings, and now they're criticizing those signings. Of course, when you see them not perform, you're going to criticize them.
Okay, so don't overgas. This fan base was overgassing Fabi Vieira. Yeah, unless you're Portuguese, don't lie to me and tell me you watch the Portuguese league. This fan base clowned the French league, just like a lot of snobby Premier League fans. So you ain't watching the Portuguese league because that's below the French league. So let's not gas it up. I told man Fabi Vieira ain't good enough. I support Benfica. That's my family team, and I said this guy ain't good enough. Nuno Tavares is another one that came from Benfica. Yeah, came from the Portuguese league. I told you, man, it ain't good enough. Yeah. So when they pretend like they know certain players that they never watched, that's what I'm calling out. Yeah. When they're telling me that Kai Havertz is good enough, when I told man this guy ain't good enough, that is what gets on my nerves because before he arrived, everyone's calling him Shai Havertz, along Arsenal fans included. But now he's the solution. It's very simple in football. Yeah. These days we're disrespecting the art of coaching and being a winner in professional football. Yeah. This youth project for managers and players, it don't work. The last youth project to win something, a major honor in England, has only been the class of 99, the treble winning Man United team. That will let you know that it's an anomaly. It is an anomaly. And that youthful side wasn't backed by an inexperienced manager. We've got an inexperienced manager leading inexperienced players. Not all the players are crap, but a lot of them are overrated and overhyped. And a lot of them that people tell me they can do a job ain't good enough. And they're showing
Let me bring Jess in because I know you were talking about the bench, Jess, and you were like there was something that you said you wanted to bring in. I know that we've got some injuries at the moment, blah blah blah. Some of the players, though, I agree with Northside. The bench from last year is looking very similar to the bench of this year.
Yeah, I think my problem with the conversation around the bench is always I don't think anybody ever considers that maybe the manager is not getting enough out of the group that he has. You cannot rate certain players and not think that they're ultimately good enough. But when you continuously see like no matter who's on the bench, you're not getting anything out of it. For me, I have to start looking at the manager and also looking at the environment that he puts these players in. I have a huge problem with whether you think Kivior is good enough or not, Fabio Vieira, who else is there? Trossard, whatever. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to always be like, well, those players are just not good enough when you know that he's playing them out of position. I have a real issue with Kivior playing at left back continuously when we know he's a center back. Like, he's a center back. If you play Fabio Vieira, he's mostly a creative player that's not going to give you anything defensively. Play him as a number 10. Stop the mess. Like, stop the bullshit. Like, I just feel like when you have players on your bench that are not as good as the players that they come in for, you have to modify your tactics just a little bit or your setup to get the most out of them. And he doesn't do that. And so is it the case that we just have the worst bench in the world that just, it's like when they come out, they just can't do anything? Or is it that Mikel Arteta is not setting them up properly? Because for me, it's just like, it's unacceptable, like, to me, to have Kivior continuously play left back when you know he's a left-sided center back. It's ridiculous to me. I don't like it. Even Trossard, it's like all of a sudden Trossard is a terrible player. Please sit all the way down. Have a seat. Trossard is not a terrible player. Is he world class? No. But is he what he's showing right now? Absolutely not. What have all of us been saying for like the last couple of months? Trossard is a player that needs to play more central. He cannot hug the touchline. Shit. Saka and Martinelli can barely hug the touchline. They can barely do it. So Trossard definitely can't do it. When is Mikel Arteta going to figure out a way to get Trossard closer to the goal? When is he going to figure that out? I don't buy this whole we don't have a bench that could do a job. I don't buy that. They may not be world class, but you know damn well Arteta's not getting enough out of this group. He's not. And so what ends up happening is Arteta gets to buy more and more and more and more and rebuy in the same positions that he's already bought in. To me, that's a waste of money. It's a waste to have bought Kivior and then wanting to buy a Hato or Inacio or whatever. They play the same positions. You just bought players in that position. Get something out of the guys that you have. And that's where Edu comes in for me, because I'm like, you need to restrain him a little bit. We're in the January window and we're in a bind based on a lot of the decisions that he's made. You cannot give him carte blanche anymore. You have to say, what are you doing with Emile Smith-Rowe? You want him here. You refuse to sell him. Get something out of him. And quite frankly, if they had done that in the summer window, maybe Emile Smith-Rowe would be playing, Fabio Vieira would be playing, and we'd have a striker or something. Because we spent $100 million on left center mids. None of them work, but Emile Smith-Rowe is still here. Why is Emile Smith-Rowe still here if Fabio Vieira and Havertz are playing his position? We're just wasting money. He needs to get more out of the squad. That's my biggest gripe.
Right on that. I agree with
Get more. Get more.
On the recruitment, Jeffy's back spot on. She's spot on. She's
Yeah,
spot on. The quality of
I can't agree. I can't disagree with anything you just said, Jess. I think the recruitment definitely we've got some hits, right? And Baz, this is where I'll come to you, because we've definitely got some misses, right, in the squad. But we can't just keep looking at, but we need a striker still. But we need to replace Saka. Because I've been crying out for this for a long time, and it don't seem to be happening. We still don't have a centre forward in this squad in 8 transfer windows. We're picking Jesus, who, let's be real, is not really an all-round striker, is he? He's a good footballer. I really like him. But we're still calling out for a striker. 8 transfer windows, and we still need a striker. For real. What's happening there? There's something wrong there. So I don't know what the solution is, Babs. I think that we've all proven last season that we can play some amazing football. I want to see that come back. I don't want to see this change of style stuff. I want to see him get the best out of what he had from last season. And all he had to do, in my opinion, was we all knew Granit Xhaka needed replacing. Whether you loved him or hated him or thought he was a great player or a rubbish player, he needed upgrading, in my opinion. And Declan Rice looks like it was going to be that. I appreciate that Thomas Partey's injured, but did you not realise that might have happened? Seeing it's been happening for the last 24 months. So you kind of needed to upgrade in that position as well, which was why I said, if you're getting rid of Xhaka, calm. But you need to get 2 in, and we only got Rice. So I don't know what your thoughts are, Babs, moving forward. Well, is there a solution that Arteta can do in the next couple of weeks that convinces everybody that, he is the right guy and we can win this title?
I think I'm looking more to Arteta's managing ability now than his signings, for sure. I'd love to get a striker, but I don't think the striker's the solution that we need right now. As in terms of what we have and the players we have, I don't think he's maximising our attackers, in terms of our best attackers. Our most clinical attackers are Saka and Martinelli. And I think too often we see him playing out wide and just holding the width, when then he's prioritising Havertz and Jesus, who aren't as clinical as Martinelli and Saka. So for me, it's about complement those two players better. You look at Odegaard and Saka's combination on the right-hand side, and it's good. It works, and it worked very well last season, but I feel like at times they get in each other's way. So now Mikel's got players like Smith Rowe to add a different dynamic. You need to show me now that you can find different ways. You look at Pep and Klopp, and what they do so well is that you often utilize their best players, their best attackers, the best way. They prioritize them as the best players. They treat their superstars like superstars. I don't think Arsenal are right now. And I think it comes down to Mikel probably being a bit comfortable, but also it's just trusting these players and where they play. And making a massive change, if it doesn't work out, we will be the first guys mentioning it. Oh, what's Mikel done? Why has he done that for? So it's about trialing, but properly, and not causing yourself more issues. Because now we've dropped points against West Ham and Fulham, and if you experiment further in our next league game, as on top of that, and we drop points again, then it becomes an even bigger crisis. So it's about being careful at the same time as well. But I also feel like in terms of any signings, I go back to it, the reason why we signed Havertz was to add something different. I don't think he was meant to be a guaranteed starter straight away. And as Dan said earlier, Rice was meant to be the Xhaka replacement. So we've not really seen as much of Xhaka, Partey and Odegaard. So that's where I think Mikel has been a bit unlucky, not just with Partey, but also with Timber. Because if you're going to play Havertz as a left number 8, you need to have a player behind him that can, pass around. And Zinchenko can do that, but Timber's better at that. And also in terms of defending as well. So he's been a bit unlucky. But I think the answer now lies with Mikel Arteta. Can you adapt midway through a season? Can you adapt like Pep? Because the attack's making chances now, which it wasn't doing earlier in the season. But can you take it to the next level? Because we're still nowhere near on course to score the right amount of goals to win a title. We've scored 20 outfield goals all season. That's not enough. So there's clearly a problem there. But the fact that we were improving prior to these past 2 games, especially prior to the Fulham game, in terms of our numbers, chances produced, shows that we're getting there. Mikel sees the problem, but it's now about solving it properly over the course of the season.
And early in the season, we had a lot of late winners. We were finding ways to get back into games and win them. Now it's becoming a situation when games are tough, we're not finding those same solutions. So we need to go back to what we're doing in the sense of starting off early, going with that high intensity early, because I feel like at times we're sluggish early in the game and then we grow into the game. But by then it's almost like it's too late sometimes.
But if that's going back to what Babs was saying about, like, we all know that Rice was supposed to be the Xhaka replacement. I never really bought into that, to be honest, because to me, if that was the case, then he would have started first. You don't move one of your best midfielders to right back if you fuck with them like that. Excuse my language. You just don't. To me, that doesn't make any sense. So if that's the case, that Arteta actually was banking on Thomas Partey to play with Rice, that's even more stupid to me, because Thomas Partey is the most unreliable player on the planet. He is not somebody that you can there's just no way. And if you want to change the dynamics, I feel like you want consistency. And so you already know that Thomas Partey is not going to be there, which means you're going to have to move Rice, which means you're going to have to find somebody to play left center mid. To me, that's that's worse than me thinking that, that Havertz was going to be the left center mid for me. It just is worse to me, because you could have always predicted that Thomas Partey was going to be injured. That's terrible squad planning, in my opinion. It's horrendous.
But didn't he play right back? Because I think maybe Tomiyasu was coming back to fitness and we didn't have Zinchenko.
I don't think we know, Miguel, still. I still don't think we know. So, Zinchenko and Jesus were out. And as soon as they come back, Partey got injured. So everyone went, see, Gabriel's now playing. Yeah. But Partey got kind of injured. So we're still questioning.
You didn't have to play Partey at right back. There's nothing on the planet that could convince me that we had to play Partey at right back. There was nothing there.
There was 100% there was. I think you're missing the point that Zinchenko was our inverted fullback because he's a midfielder. We didn't have Zinchenko available. Timber tried playing inverted. He wasn't doing as well as Zinchenko in terms of the midfield aspects.
And he wanted
to have a midfield aspect. So he, instead of having Zinchenko, who was unfit, he used Partey. That's what he was trying to do. But you go back to the Community Shield, who did he start as a number 6, Thomas Partey, who was in front of him, Declan Rice. So when he had Ben White and he had Timber, he played Partey with them as well. So I think it was a matter of he was trying to replicate that dynamic. But I also feel like, we talk about Partey being unavailable and injured, but he's never missed this many games. Never. Even last year, he started 28 games. The year before, 23 games. He was starting more than this. So this is a long-term injury. No one expected to come this long. He normally out for 2-3 weeks max.
When he came in...
Pardon?
Why did he drop Gabriel, though, in those few games? That was weird.
Yeah, because he wanted to replicate the dynamic. Someone had to drop. You can't have 2 midfielders, can you? You had to have Zinchenko was trying to be replaced with his injury, so he wanted. That's what I think. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm trying to make sense of why he tried it, and he had his inverted midfielder not available.
I just don't understand that thought process at all, because even if what you're saying is true, which I can see the point, like I can see what you're trying to say, like he wants to have that inverted thing, whatever. I'm sorry, but like if I have a new midfield dynamic, that sets precedent over my inverted shit. Like I know I can play Tomiyasu and Ben White, but you're trying to build a new partnership with Partey and Rice. Why would you break that apart just to keep some dynamic that you don't have to have? You don't have to have the inverted dynamic. We played
But
without it.
just, you want to know something? I don't even feel like Partey playing right back was the reason why we drew that game against Fulham at home originally.
I don't either.
I think that was more individual errors, like Bukayo Saka making the back pass, giving away a penalty when who came on? Was Zinchenko? I'm pretty sure Zinchenko came on and gave away.
Zinchenko gave away a corner, yeah, and then they
Yeah,
scored from
so
that
it's
corner.
like it was other things that led up to that. So back then, even we were talking about other issues like not being able to create enough chances, and there was other issues throughout the team. But I think it all comes back down to the one major thing that we did. We took a big gamble, making a big midfield overhaul in the middle of a title, in the middle of the fact that we thought we were able to compete for the next year. Most teams that are competing for a league title, they don't make such major overhauls in their midfield or in their team. They just retool and add small pieces. We always knew that was a big risk going into this season.
He never adjusted in the right way. That's the problem. He never adjusted in the right way. Last season, the reason we played the way we played is because when you have a team that has no focal point and nobody that's going to just create something out of nothing, you create an abundance of chances for those players because you don't have a killer. That's what you do. Same way it's going on at Tottenham. They got a manager that's making them create a bunch of chances because they've not replaced Harry Kane. What he needed to do is give us another option. Let's not go on like last season was an example how to win the league. We literally threw away all the cups, bigger fish to fry, and we were focused on the league. And even then we came up short because when we come up against low blocks and things like that, we don't have the players to unlock that. Saka is better when he's got space, just like Martinelli. Saka likes to play 1-2s off of Odegaard to get in behind. A lot of times he will not take on his man. He's not going to leave him for dead and just take him on. He looks for space. Martinelli likes to run in straight lines and run into space. Then you've got Jesus that plays his back to goal. So he's not going to make runs going forward and he's not clinical enough. Then you've got Odegaard that when pressed in the midfield, like we saw against West Ham and Newcastle and midfields like that, he goes missing. He's not up for the physical fight. And he doesn't thread the ball through the eye of the needle like when we had Ozil. Then you got next to him a Havertz that is not even carrying the ball from deep, which what is something great that Xhaka did last season, would transition the ball very fast from defense to attack and support the attack and provide options. Havertz doesn't do that. He wants you to cross the ball into the box and he may get his head to it and he may get you a goal. The majority of the game, he's a passenger. Then you have two fullbacks that are not helping the wingers. So it's easy to isolate them. Two wingers that for opposite sides of the spectrum are very predictable. They thrive in one thing. They're very predictable. So you don't have Ben White overlapping Saka anymore. You don't have Zinchenko creating anymore because he's got 1 assist in 17. And this is why I didn't understand the arrogance with some of the fan base, because they look more to hype than to realize there are holes. The bench is not good enough. Mikel Arteta does not trust this bench. He's making late substitutions in the majority of games. 60th minute, hitting almost 70th minute. We used to get under Wenger about that. His game management is poor. The style of play does not fit the players that we have. He's not shored us up in positions that we need. And the players that were sourcing last season are not doing a great job this season, and they're being more exposed because the system isn't getting the most out of them. And we have no plan B. Look on that bench and tell me where the goals are coming when we need a goal. Because that bench did not affect the game against West Ham, Newcastle, when we lost to Lons, now when we lost to Fulham, lost to West Ham. It ain't good enough. But we were getting away with it. We got away with it against Luton, and people are saying, oh, this is a sign of champions. These maricas don't learn. The bench isn't good enough. When we played PSV with this fixed bench that people are saying, oh, why didn't you play them in the right positions? They're not good enough even when you play them in their right positions. We rotate.
You don't ever see them in the right positions, though. Like, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
I'm going to quit. We rotated this team. PSV, we rotated the squad. Yeah? We played the bench. And that bench was only good enough to get a draw. This bench, if you're still not convinced by that, this bench was not good enough last season, which majority of Arsenal fans' reason for why we bottled the league last season was because of this bench. but all of a sudden everything's transformed. The same bench now that they want to get rid of in January. It doesn't make sense. Are they good enough or are they not good enough? They aren't good enough.
No, nobody.
I still don't think you're getting the point, because when you make arguments, everything is very black and white. You remove a lot of context, which is fine because that's your thing. But there is a lot of gray area there that, again, you just like, there's a difference between like when we played against PSV, there were wholesale changes in that game. Like, we just 5, 6, 7 players. That's not it. What I'm talking about is you could bring in like Reece Nelson for one game for Saka and play him on the wing like a normal person. It would not be the end of the world. Your bench is not meant to only be able to serve you if you can rotate all 9, 10 players out at one time. That's not it.
Okay,
like,
can you get a long injury? Because if Saka gets a long injury, yeah, he's not good enough to fill in for the rest of the season, which is something that can happen, especially with the amount of games that we've put on Saka. So you're telling me about how I look at football. You're looking at it as if, oh, it's only for one game, or it's only for 2 games. This fan base was very quick to get rid of Pepe, but I've seen more contribution for Pepe at Arsenal than Reece Nelson has ever done. And Saka, with the amount of games and the way we're burning him out, and the way he cannot miss a game, you could be with Reece Nelson. Would he do a better? Would he fill in better than Pepe? No, he wouldn't. Pepe got us to a European final, and yes, he wasn't the be all and end all, but no one's going to tell me.
So Pepe got us to a European final. Oh my gosh,
What do you mean?
Jess, what are you?
Pepe did not get us to a European final.
What you can say is the way I look at football.
Pepe did not get us to a European final. Please take that back. Please take that back. I was letting you go for a little bit. North side, take that back.
Come in again with the Nelson thing, Jess, because I didn't understand your point. Go on, explain that. What do you mean? I actually don't think he is good enough, but go on, explain.
I don't think, but a lot of teams have players on their bench that are not better than the players that they have out there, that they wouldn't want to play for the entire season, that they get more out of. That's my point. Arteta needs to get more out of what he has before he's given more resources. Because when he's given a lot of resources, he doesn't spend it properly, in my opinion. But we're living in the world where Pepe won us a European final. What did you say? He got us to a European final? He won us to what was what you said? Northside.
What did you say?
I said, but we're living in a world where Pepe did what for us?
Did Pepe not score goals to get us to a European final? What's your boy Reece Nelson done?
What European final?
Okay, all right then.
Oh,
you're telling me about the signings that we've signed.
Okay, but also what I'll say. Okay, yeah? So if almost is something, Northside. If getting us to a European
why do we get rid
final,
of Balogun that actually had a good loan spell, but the guy that doesn't do anything in loan, we keep him. Yeah, but
Balogun didn't want to be here.
For one game.
Balogun didn't want to be here.
You rate him so highly. No, you rate him so highly that you only want him to fill in for one game. If he fills in for the rest of the season, it's a problem. Exactly, because he ain't good enough. That's how your real feelings are. He ain't good enough. Only to cover 1 or 2 games. It wasn't even good enough to change the game against PSV. We drew. PSV.
Okay, one second.
But what are you going to do from now until the end of the season? Like, I get your whole point is I was right.
No, you can't defeat what I'm saying.
From now until the end of the season, Mikel Arteta needs to use the bench better, regardless if you think they're good enough or not. Like, that is the point.
The point is he should be fired because in 4 years that bench shouldn't be like that. We should not be re-signing players that have failed under multiple years at Arsenal.
So then what are we talking about then? If the whole conversation,
there's only so much you can get out of a Runnison or a Lokonga or a Fabio Vieira. What are you talking about? You want to get the most out of a League One player. This guy couldn't even get into Leeds in the Championship. In Kenya. Reece Nelson couldn't even rip up trees in the Bundesliga.
I was speaking about Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson didn't play for Leeds. I never even mentioned Nketiah one time.
Reece Nelson has never performed out on loan, even in the Bundesliga. Why would he ever perform here?
I'll tell you this: Reece Nelson last year was a good impact sub. When he came on against Nottingham Forest, he did a good job. When he came on against
I just don't understand the
I'm just gonna say this. I don't know about you guys, but my expectations going into the season was to be competitive to win this league, and I'm not throwing my toys out the Prem yet. I still believe that this team they have the ability to find internal solutions, and they can fix up certain players like Gabriel Martinelli. If he just didn't lose his ability to score goals and his ability to be clinical overnight. we're just not putting him in the right positions, and he's not finding himself in the right positions. And his teammates are also not giving him the ball in the same way that he was receiving the ball last year. Bukayo Saka, I feel like Bukayo Saka is doing a lot of the dogged work. So is Martin Odegaard. They're creating a lot of chances, but it's not being buried because the players up front, like Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Kai Havertz, are not getting in the right positions. And when they do get in the right positions, they're not taking them. So in order for us to be sitting here today and saying sack the manager, this and that, I really do believe if we go and beat Liverpool and we go and win our next 2 games in this month of January, we could be back in the title race. People could we could change our form. And it's really, form is temporary. These players are not garbage overnight. We don't go and do what we did all last season and then at a click of a hat lose it all.
I agree with that. That's why I'm saying, like, the conversation where we're just going from, like, if the only part of the conversation is all these players are crap and the manager is crap, then why are we doing a stream? Because you could just say that and just, like, you've said all
you have to focus on the gray area. I think that's what you're trying to say, though.
That's all I'm saying.
The people that are toxic and negative,
you've already said this before.
I don't think it's about I don't think it's about being toxic and negative. I think
you know what it is with Arsenal fans, yeah. It takes a collapse, or it takes you guys to start seeing the cracks. If you lot to call it out, not necessarily you. Not necessarily you. What I'm talking about the majority of Arsenal fans.
It's not a majority.
Are always reactive instead of proactive. It's the problem. When we re-signed El Nene, no one had a problem. When we re-signed,
you're lying. You are actively lying right now. You're actively lying right now.
Don't worry about it. It's on my channel.
You are lying.
I've got receipts like a lawyer.
Because I'm literally sitting there. Somebody who said that I did not want El Nene resign.
And now all of a sudden it's why are we overreacting? Why this? But he has to utilize the players better. No, a lot of these players have either failed at Arsenal or failed on loan. They're not good enough. It's not about utilizing them better. They are not good enough.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is.
We'll do this again then.
Because a player is not the best. Like, I don't like that. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would it?
It'll make sense at the end of the season.
It doesn't, because not every single player.
You need to have like a referee shit on it, mate.
Love every single player. You have to get more out of them. That is like a
whistle aside.
And just because your comment section rattles you all the time and tells you that you don't know ball doesn't mean you need to lie and generalize on everything. Not everybody likes Nketiah. Nobody sits there and says we all love Nketiah. We all
rather talk about people like me than holding your team to the standards that are necessary. That's the problem with people that think like you.
Bro, you're giving it up. You're giving up already.
You be mad more with your process because your process is the one that's thinking like Titanic. Don't worry.
You don't know anything about me. Honestly, the fact that you're saying that lets me know that you don't know anything about me whatsoever. Because if anybody in this fan base is called negative, it's me.
Okay, but why are you talking about my mindset? Do you know me?
Because your mindset is bad right now. Your mindset, like literally right now, your comment section rattled you so badly that you're generalizing every single thing.
Let it go come in. Let it go right now.
I just want to know, are you packing in the season already? You're basically saying the season's done, because that's where I'm saying your mentality is a little bit off. Because if we have the mentality to actually be winners, we don't give up after the first big hurdle. We continue to push through. City or any other team, because they've done it and they've been there, done that, people can say, we know they can weather the storm. But Arsenal, the moment we face a little bit of adversity, here's where we need to be stronger as a fan base. We need to be able to have the mentality to say, you know what, the manager and the players will find a solution and get through it, instead of just saying, we're going to bottle it like we always do. And I don't like that mentality, because then what are we going to ever win if we continue to just say this? City themselves, they never got through it until they had the Aguero moment. Look at Chelsea. They never got through it until they had their moment. We need to get through this by eventually getting our moment. And that's by, obviously, you're not going to blindly support them, but you don't just give up and throw it all away.
Do you think Arteta can do that? Do you think Arteta can do that?
100%, because he's done it before. We faced adversity last season when we lost at home to City. We regrouped. Of course, we didn't end up winning, but I
understand that. But do you think Arteta can get us across the line to do that with a Premier League title? That's what my question is.
He needs to first fix the miniature mistakes that he's making right now, and that's what we're here to talk about. So if we want to talk about solutions, here are some of my solutions. I think he needs to find a consistent player to play in that midfield until Thomas Partey comes back, because consistently changing it to Kai Havertz to Jorginho is not working at this moment in time. Figure out which one is best for us. depending on the certain games, and play that. In the meanwhile, we have a defensive issue. If you guys don't know, Tomiyasu's gone, Timber's gone due to injury. One is going to a tournament, and Zinchenko's currently injured. So what are we going to do there? In the short term, we're going to have to figure out who's going to play in the left back position. And with the attack, I think Bukayo Saka and Odegaard have been doing their job. I think it's time for Martinelli and whoever is playing striker to do their job. And it's not as simple to say, oh, just bury your chances. It's look at yourself and say, if you're not going to create this chance and you're not going to shoot and it's not going to go in, maybe it's time for Martinelli to try to get the assist instead of shooting and cutting in and shooting. Maybe it's time for you to make the early pass. Maybe it's time for you to, instead of drifting back, Gabriel Jesus, stay in the box and wait for the ball to come to you. I know it's not your nature, but maybe to do that. Or because if he continues to do the same way we're doing, we're just going to fall in the same traps. And it's the definition of insanity to keep trying the same thing and think it's going to change.
Yeah, I agree with that last bit. And that's why I'm on the manager to look at what he's going to do next. Babs, let me come in on that, man, because I've actually been quite complimentary to 3 players every single week. Saliba, Gabriel and Rice. Other than that, I'm struggling to big up many of the others. I feel like the majority of them have regressed. And that's where I'm at with the manager. Now, people might think that's silly and go, what? You think the players regressing is the managers? Yeah, I do. I actually do. Because I think the style of play has allowed for this to completely and utterly... There's no coincidence that this change of style has now affected the whole of our front four. That can't be the whole of the front four just no longer any good. Surely.
Right.
I understand they've missed chances. I understand they've fluffed their lines. Villa, we can talk about other games if you want, West Ham, etc. But for me, I don't really see us peppering goals. It's not like, wow, we're missing open goals. The keepers are putting off amazing saves here. The shots against West Ham, 30 shots. Do me a favour. 2 of them rolled towards Areola. Every other thing went over the bar or wide or didn't even get to the shot. So for me, there is definitely a problem, man. So I think that has got to be a style thing, Babs, surely.
Yeah, we definitely can become more efficient. And I'd say the issue with our attack, is just the fact that I think Mikel wants so much control of the game, and I think it's because of fear more than anything, because of last season. He doesn't want to have that same thing last year. We were all the way there, and then against Man City, and so we bottled it because we lost control. That game against Man City where we were like, what was it, 2-0 down at half time? That game they were ripping us apart. And I think that game changed Mikel's personality. I think he said, listen, I want to now make sure this doesn't happen again. And so he brought in Declan Rice. And I think we talk about, right now we talk about plan Bs. We're playing without plan B. Because I don't think plan A is Kai Havertz. I think plan A is Rice, Partey and Odegaard, right? And last year, with plan B, we didn't win a title. So this year, the fact that we've been fighting for a title with plan B is an improvement from last year because we've got Declan Rice, who can play as a 6 now. Because if there wasn't there Declan Rice, who's the number 6? Jorginho. So I think it's a matter of a bit unfortunate with injuries, but also I think it's now Mikel Arteta's responsibility to show that he can adapt. But I think Igal made a good point in the fact that since it's not a major hole in our team, it's minor little issues. That if Mikel can change, it will make a massive difference. Because we are 4 or 5 points off the top of the table. A win against Fulham, we could have been top of the table going into the new year. So it's very close still. We've got a lot of time to still turn it around. If we were in April right now and we're having the same conversation, I'm struggling, and I'm saying to myself, okay, we are in a very, very deep position, but we're not right now. And I think all it takes is one signing, and a lot of fans will jump back onto the whole, yeah, we're back, right kind of thing. But I want to see Mikel make changes with the players he's got first, because if you can show me you can maximize the profiles you got, then I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? You can get us over the line this season. That's my concern. Of course, it's right to have that concern of can Mikel get us over the line, because that's always going to be there until he does it, right? So it would be delusional of me to come out and say, yeah, I'm guaranteed he's going to do it this season. Mm-hmm. So I'm still looking for a few more things, but it's minor things, not massive things. And that's why I always like to adverse from crisis talk when I don't think it's something major right now. And that's why I looked at the Fulham game and West Ham game in isolation. I didn't look at the Fulham game as the same as the West Ham game, despite them both being defeats, because they were different types of games. But I think now Mikel Arteta needs to take responsibility.
And it's a good thing that we got this break at this time. It's perfect timing. Because we don't play Liverpool for another 7 days from our last game. Then after that, we have 13-day break until Crystal Palace. Mikel Arteta has a long time to focus on this. And also, we play Liverpool without their best player at home. I want to take advantage. I want to win trophies this season. I don't want us to be like, doing what we did last year. I don't know about you guys, but the FA Cup is an opportunity to win a trophy. We're still in it. The Premier League is still an opportunity to win. We're still in it. And I know it's a long shot, but we're still in the Champions League group stages. So this doom and gloom, you would have thought the season was over and we're out of all 3 cups. It's crazy to me.
Babs makes a really good point, though. Like, if basically we wouldn't be having this crisis talk if we had beat Fulham. We wouldn't. Like,
Facts.
we
No,
wouldn't.
no,
be
of
sitting-
course not.
We
of course
literally
not.
wouldn't even be sitting here. We'd be talking about something else. But at the same time, like, again, like I said, it's not a blip. And like in January, I think Arteta really needs to sit down and have like a little chat with himself about like some of the decisions that were made, how we can get better, how we can use people better and stuff like that. Because again, you have a squad, you need to utilize it, whether you think they're good enough or not. And you know, it's going to give Saka and Ben White and players like this a good opportunity to rest. You know, like hearing that Ben White is playing with an injury and he has been for weeks. You know,
Do you
Saka.
believe that though, Jess? Honestly, do you actually
Yeah, I
believe
do.
Ben White's injured?
Yeah, I do. Why
Really?
not?
Like, okay, this is what I don't get, because for me, that
Why
is
would they
just
come out and lie though? I guess that would be like my,
what are you playing for then?
because you don't have
Who
anybody
else
else.
would play?
You don't have anybody else.
Exactly. We got Cedric there. I don't know why he's there, but he's there
You
because
guys,
part of
be,
the
be
squad.
all the way.
If we've
Oh
got
Be all the
Ben
way
White,
for real.
if we've got
If
Ben
he had
White
played
injured,
Cedric,
he's gonna have to do something about it. I just
If
don't
you
believe
pick
he's injured.
Cedric, you're gonna flip out.
I
bro.
do. You guys,
Yeah,
like,
but
okay,
Igal, I don't rate Cedric either, but my point is, if a player's injured and you're paying somebody 100 and whatever the hell he's on a week, Cedric, to just sit there and look pretty as decoration, and now you've got someone who's actually injured, apparently, which I don't believe, by the way. I just think he's poorly out of form, in my opinion. Ben White, I've not seen him limping or like straining or anything. And I don't. And
You
if
don't
he
have
is injured, why
you
did
don't
he
have
come
he
on
was
against
doing that,
PSV
maybe-
in a dead rubber game when he's
I'm
injured?
I'm
Makes no sense.
sorry. He didn't play in a dead rubber. What dead rubber did
Player-
he play in?
Players
The
through
last
He
injury.
means
20
come off
minutes
the
of
bench.
PSV, who come on? Ben White. Why? If he's injured, why are we bringing him on in a game where we didn't need to do anything with? I don't believe that he is injured.
we're still
Listen, I
not
could be wrong. I'm no physio. I have no idea. But if he's
Well, I
playing
mean,
every single
if
game
this
and
is
he's
the
injured,
case, if you think that Arsenal use fake injury news to make it seem like
who said
players,
he's
it's
injured
okay.
though? Who has actually
Because-
come out and said he's injured? The physio?
Well, the physio never talks to us. Like, well, the physio,
You know, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
literally
So
never
who is
talks
saying
to us.
he's injured though, Jess? That's what I don't get.
I mean,
Who
Sammy
is it?
McBell came out and said that he was injured. So I don't know. Whenever he says good things about Arsenal, we believe him. But when he says something that doesn't fit our narrative, it's not true anymore. But if there's anybody that they need to be lying about, then it's Martinelli, because he's in the worst form of anybody. So why aren't they saying that Martinelli got an injury? Why pick and choose?
I've no
I don't
idea. But if he is injured and he's still playing this amount of games, we've got problems, man. We need another right back then as well
was
as
John
another
Cross.
left back.
It was John Cross who said it on New Year's Eve.
Oh, it must be true. It's John Cross. he's never wrong, is he? John Cross. Jesus
I just
Christ.
don't understand why, like, we assume that the club, like, or anybody would lie about a random, like, doesn't make any sense to me. But
But we've
either
known-
way, it gives the players an opportunity to rest, because I think some of
recover.
them really need them. Like, I think some people really need a rest.
Listen, that is a fact. I totally agree with
Can I
that.
say one thing though? I feel like we always see our team bounce back after a couple losses, but when those losses happen, this is the reaction that I don't like. I feel like we constantly find every negative and we say that we can't fix it. I think we can talk about solutions, but I don't think like we're talking about enough solutions. We're just looking at the manager and saying he has to figure it out. Yes, he does have to figure it out, but there is solutions there. I don't think these guys get to this level and say to themselves, oh, whenever the chips are down, they just throw in the towel. Our mentality is not the same as a couple years ago. These guys can get
They're
themselves.
professional footballers. Dan, and someone said this, and it's absolute cap. Dan, have we not been calling this out all season? Did we not say this last season? Probably said it the season before that. Yeah. So all this
Say
thing
what?
about, oh, if the
What are you
Fulham
talking
game
about?
didn't happen, then
No,
you
say what
wouldn't
specifically,
this.
though.
Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Since we have been in the doldrums the last 20 years, we've been calling it out. But the problem is, when you call it out and it's not fashionable, and the majority are not calling it out, you're labeled as, oh, the way you think, and you're so toxic. Oh, why are you an Arsenal fan? Oh, this and that. That is what's labeled. Only now are people saying the things that me and Dan were saying. Because earlier in the season, when we're top at Christmas, we're winning games, we're getting away with it, we were already calling this out. Igal, you know, you watch my channel, I've met you in person, you know I've been consistent. I've been consistently calling out why I'm not happy with this squad, and at the start of the season, why I said we're not going to win it. And now people are seeing it. They can either realize or continue with their narrative if it's for their channel or whatever. The thing is, yeah, I call it out because people like to get personal. Oh, the way I think. Oh, you're toxic. Oh, you're not an Arsenal fan. Oh, this and that. Instead of answering my questions, because when I gave a load of factual information, it was, Northside, what would you do? When I told man that we should have went for Ancelotti when we could have went for Ancelotti. Why do you want Ancelotti? He's going to Everton. He's washed. Then he went to Real Madrid, and what did he do? Then I was like, why hold on to this manager? Why are we re-signing these players? Oh, they can do a job. Anytime me or Dan offer a solution, all these top goonies talk Bulgaria, and they always got this, oh no, but he's young, they're going to grow together. Then I tell them, okay, cool. Have you not learned from when we had Nazari, when we had Fabregas, when we had Van Persie, when we had Adebayor, all these players, eventually, if they get to the level that you believe they are, and they realize that this club is not doing what it needs to be doing, they move on. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. So when the club is not moving serious, and you're seeing Declan Rice and Gabriel arguing, yeah, it may hurt your little feelings, but it's the fact. The reason I'm annoyed is I'm annoyed mainly with this club. Arsenal fans take it too personal. I'm annoyed with the club. When they come personal to me, then I'll get personal back. I'm annoyed with the club because I support this club. Everyone else is an employee. It is
So
not.
would you sack him at the end of the season or right now?
With 4 years, yeah, and £700 million at the start of this manager's tenure, everyone said he needs his players. Well, Unai Emery, look at where he's got Aston Villa. He's not had all the money and all the time this manager has.
Let's not compare it to Aston Villa. That's a
Hold on. Yeah. The Tottenham manager, two that I don't believe are going to win anything, that they're going to win anything this season. The fact is, you don't have to go this route. When I gave the example that we've had 3 youth projects at this football club, yeah, we had a youth project when we had Callum Gibbs, when we had Gibbs and we had Fabregas, we had Wilshere, and we had those generations of project youth when we had to save money because of the stadium. It didn't lead to any major honours. So I've been telling them, man, we didn't have to go down this route. There's managers available there that we could at least inquire. Yes, you may not have got Klopp or Ancelotti, but you could have gotten a proven winner. The 2 managers that have won the league while Pep has been here have been managers that have a proven record of winning major honours. Conte won with Pep in charge, and Klopp has won. And Klopp is at a club run very similarly to Arsenal, where you don't have oil-rich owners. So go get an experienced manager that isn't going to waste money on Lokonga, isn't going to re-sign El Nene, isn't going to re-sign Reece Nelson, isn't going to re-sign Nketiah, isn't going to bring players that you question and think, is he good enough? Because when Klopp had a load of money after selling Coutinho, look at what they bought. Van Dijk, buying players like Salah, buying quality players, Alisson. And we're wasting money on Runnison and Cedric and these players. Every time I bring a solution, man, throw down my solution. So why should I? It's your project. It's your face. I'm the negative one because I call it out. You ask your manager and your process that you back.
No, you're right. It is my manager and it is my club because this is I support Arsenal.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
I support
right?
Arsenal,
and it doesn't.
not youth project,
and I'm sure you do support Arsenal, but I look at it in this way: if I'm a fan of Arsenal, I want to help my team. I don't think going to the stadium and shouting "Mikel, get out of my club," and everyone's awful is going to help my team win a game of football, is it?
Was that negative?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
No, but do you think that helps? Do you think I'm saying if I went to my ground as a supporter of the club and started booing my players constantly because they weren't winning the game 5-0, do you think I'd help my team win or lose?
Yeah, because we actually kicked out this fan base out of behind this manager, kicked out Wenger, that was a bigger legend in this club because we were
but even now it's 50-50.
We were sick of, hold on.
No, but even now it's 50-50 though.
We were sick of top 4, and Wenger is a bigger legend than this man will ever be. And
no, he is. Of course he is. He is. But again, it's 50-50.
So
you're looking at one group of fans and you're using it as an entire fan base. You're overgeneralizing, my friend.
As a collective, kicked out Wenger.
What do you mean as a collective? I went to Wenger's last game, mate. There was not a collective. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Kick out this bum. Don't justify me not kicking out this bum if you kicked out Wenger.
So that's what you want you to do. Do you want all of us to go to the Emirates on the next game and just start booing them to get them out? Is that what you want?
Well, how about you leave the march then? How about you leave the march then?
Do it for free, does he?
To the Emirates.
For free. Is it charity? Is it Oxfam? No, you get paid. When you don't do
Lead
your
us
job,
to
like
the
if I go
Emirates.
to work tomorrow and I fail for 4 years, it ain't even going to reach 4 years. I get fired. So why are we playing violins?
No, but seriously, a lot of people.
Let's play violins for people that get paid millions of pounds, while other people are struggling.
Even if you win every single year, Man City goes through tough periods. Everybody goes through tough periods. It's just if you see
a tough period.
The thing is, Northside. The thing is, Northside, you're not invested in the manager. You're not invested in the team.
No, I'm invested in winning.
You don't believe this team can do it. You don't believe this team can do it. Hence why it doesn't matter if we're top of the table by 10 points or 5 points or 1 point or we're below or we're level on points with top of the league. you will still want the manager out after any moment of adversity.
No, I will be Arteta in when he proves me wrong, and I'll come on every channel and I've said it.
But what does that mean?
When he wins me a major honor, I will apologize. Up until then, I put what's best for my club, and what's best for my club is win major honors. When we compare our clubs, it's about major honors. When we talk down to Tottenham, it's about trophies, not processes, not projects.
So you would back him today and bring in another manager?
So yes, I would.
No, sir. Would you sack Arteta for Conte?
Huh?
Would you sack Arteta for Conte?
I would get Conte, yeah. Do you want me to explain why? Before you go, oh, do you want me to explain?
I didn't do it.
No, because he's a proven winner.
The mic is yours. I didn't do no reaction.
I'll explain to you why. The last 10 years of Wenger was Project Youth. What did we win? While we waited for
We're not in Project Youth.
Hold on, let me answer the question. You asked me a question, no? So let me answer it then. Or don't ask me a question. Cool. Wenger, Project Youth, for the last 10 years, what did it amount to? Nothing. And then we were left with a toxic squad that Arteta now had to rebuild. You know, Emery couldn't get out of it. Yeah. How many years has it been? Hitting 20 years now? This is the ripple effect of building a project. Yeah. This way. You can bring Conte. He might not get you long-term sustained success. Yeah. But there's no guarantee at the end of this process that we're going to win anything. So get me the guaranteed success for a season.
If he's guaranteed success, why do you fail at Spurs?
Exactly. He's not guaranteed.
Okay, so Mourinho's a failure because he's failed at Spurs as well.
No, nobody said it was a failure.
You're talking about guarantees.
It wasn't guaranteed.
That club has never been made to win anything. Everyone fails there. Even
it's not a guarantee.
In Mourinho, that could at least go to a dead Roma team and win them something in Europe. Yeah. So let's put it into context. We ain't gonna start saying
context now. I'm sorry, that's just really funny.
No, your context is about narrative based on how you built your channel. My context is about what I said.
It's not a narrative, bro. It's not a narrative.
I don't get it. Show again because I don't go hide it.
It's not narrative. You can't say that you want the best for the club and then no, 1 second. You can't tell me that you want the best for the club, which is amazing, right? I appreciate that you want the best for the club, and then talk about winning, and then talk about Conte, who did awful at Spurs. Bring back Nicola Pepe, who wasn't good for Arsenal in the first place. So
did he win
at Spurs? You said he's guaranteed success. If you're guaranteed, you mean you win stuff for teams, right?
I don't know why you're so rattled.
That's an example.
Just trust your manager.
Why is that? How is that rattled? How is me backing my opinion rattled?
Because how can you defend to me?
Do you see me shaking in anger or something?
You are defending an apprenticeship.
How does that, bro? If you have an argument back and forward, doesn't make it rattled. You realize that?
Spanish and he looks good. He's got nice hair.
If I'm the one that's rattled, I mean, your tone's a bit more angry than mine, isn't it? Bro, I'm just trying to have a conversation personally.
Oh, when it's Ancelotti,
I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm not disregarding Ancelotti, by the way. I never disregard that. I just asked you a question about Conte and Arteta to see if it was a perspective.
But why is that even a conversation? One is a
No, I wanted to ask you a question. To see how your perspective was. And clearly you believe, right, that a short-term manager is better for Arsenal than it would be to have Arteta. If that's how you want it, we've seen how it worked at Spurs and it failed for them. So we've seen examples of proven guaranteed winners not be guaranteed winners, right?
When you got the same amount of money as Arsenal. Don't compare Arsenal.
No, of course they don't. Of course, but the point was there was no guaranteed success. There isn't, unless Jurgen Klopp's available tomorrow. I don't think there is.
Yeah, Ancelotti's a top manager. Went to Everton. They're not built to win anything. That's why he didn't win nothing. So yeah.
Okay.
But he still did better than what. He did better than what Conte did at Spurs, though.
£1 million in 4 years. I'm sure he'll win something.
And also, didn't Conte have Spurs' highest ever spent window? I mean, Richarlison cost £50 million. Couldn't get him to score a goal, could he?
Did they not let that team decay? The players that they were playing.
Team decay, but hang on, he spent Spurs' record amount of money and signed Richarlison for £60 million. They couldn't get a goal out of him. But he's a guaranteed winner, isn't he?
Under the players that were not starters under Poch, yeah, they allowed them to become their first team players because they did not go out there and address their squad and their team and spend enough money. Tottenham don't spend no money. Everton don't spend no money. That's why they had 2 winning managers that failed over there. Different situation.
Everton definitely spend money.
We're no longer talking about the Cronkies. We're no longer talking about the Cronkies. We talk about the time and the money that Arteta has been given. Now it's time for him to deliver. So not the same.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. I want a title as well. I'm not sitting there going 4th place is happy this season.
If we get a proven winner with a board that is spending money, what's the debate? We've got an unproven manager that's had time and had money. Oh, sorry that I'm. Do you go to Halfords and expect Primark standards? No, you pay your money.
If I go Primark, I'll go Primark. I'll go ready. I wouldn't go Halfords.
It's the way that you think. Cool. The way that I'm thinking, yeah, is the way.
I'm not saying it's the way you think. I've not said anything about the way you think.
I've been trying to talk for like 5 minutes.
Just like to get a little bit personal with it. I just talk about the football. You can't answer.
I didn't get personal.
Yeah, you did. You got personal. You think, toxic and negative.
I've literally on this stream. I've literally never.
Don't worry about it. I kind of boom it,
That's actually okay.
because they know I stuck to my guns and I don't flip flop and do things just for traction. That's the difference.
Okay, but
between
if you don't flip flop or do
Thank
things
you.
for traction, then actually put some action into it.
you.
I think it's really nice.
I do.
and
I try to raise the
easy.
standards.
No, raise the standards from what? Inside whatever room you're in?
Raise the standards. Yeah, raise it. Yeah, yeah.
Go
And it's doing more
outside
than you.
and go to the
They're
Emirates.
telling us that Reece Nelson could do a job. Yeah, it's doing more.
I said he can do. Okay, that's not what I said. I said
Oh,
Reece
no.
Nelson could be
He's only
used
good enough
better.
for one game, not for the rest of the season. That's how highly you rate him.
Okay, so if you're just gonna overtalk me and like not let me speak,
No.
then fair enough.
Because I came very calmly. I could be swearing in Portuguese.
You're not saying it right.
You've been very rude. I think it's quite rude the way you've spoken to me. To be frank.
So was there any moment in which
one at a time, man? One at a time.
Like first of all, when people do that, that's mostly because they don't want you to get your thoughts out.
Yeah, detracted. Look at detracted.
So can I talk or no?
No,
Go on,
go
Jed. Go on, Jed. Let's talk, Northside. Come on.
I didn't belittle your opinion. The thing that you keep thinking is that I'm belittling your opinion because I'm adding context. We agree on some things, but you don't let it come out because you don't like the way it's coming out, because I'm not screaming and yelling and saying that all of our players are shit and our manager is shit. You actually know nothing about me, and you actually have a lot of opinions on my channel. But if you knew anything about my channel, you would know that everybody considers me to be negative because I'm balanced. You have no balance because you remove context for your narrative. You don't see the other side. Now, what I was saying earlier is that if you're so behind the team and you want everybody to win and you feel like the only way to do that is to get Mikel Arteta out, how about you book a ticket, go to the Emirates and start the rally yourself? Because it's really easy to sit there and smoke your vape and tell everybody what they should be doing and talk about all your receipts, but you ain't doing nothing either.
Okay, cool.
You're
Let me school you. You know when you can ask Turkish. Turkish did a rally. Just where were you? Oh yeah, I was one of 5. Where were you? Okay, cool. Conversation.
I didn't want the manager. Why am I doing it? Why am I doing
about what I've been doing? Because you have no idea. You think because you're sitting there that I haven't done anything. You don't know me, just like I don't know you. So don't tell me what I've been doing.
You went to one rally.
Turkish did a rally. I bet you don't even know what year it was. Turkish did a rally, and I said, "Where's the rally?" Actually, I was working 24-hour on call, and I still made my way down there, even though I could have got fired. What have you done? What have you done? All right then. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. I don't need to do anything. I don't want the manager out.
No. By your standard. No. Don't go anywhere. By your standard, you told me, you're just sitting in your chair.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah? What are you doing? What are you doing? Saying people that think like me. What have you done?
Oh, okay. Think like you. I've never said anything about people that think like you.
Let's move this
I sit on my chair just like
Northside. The seasons are right off to you in your.
Ask Turkish. If I'm lying, Turkish, please. If you're watching this, please tell them I was one of 5 on the rally.
Okay, so you're one of 5, but you've done nothing since then. When's the last time you've been to the Emirates and actually done something?
Since never. What are you chatting about? What have you done? You're trying to tell me
I don't need to do anything. I support the team. I spend my own money to go to the Emirates. Like, what are you saying? I've done my part. I don't want the manager out. I don't want the manager out. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. And you have a lot of nerve talking about somebody's channel. You have a lot of nerve talking about somebody's channel. You have a lot of nerve talking about somebody's channel.
Tranquilo.
Listen, this is someone who's known Jess for a while. She's very balanced, and a lot of people get at her.
I think she is as well.
So
I'm extremely balanced. So don't come for me. And I'm not going anywhere.
If you look at
every week to come and talk to you.
If you look at any of her tweets, she gets a lot of stick the same way you do. Especially when she calls out players like I don't know who you called out recently, but I'm pretty sure you're making fun of people who are calling out. We miss Thomas Partey. So. And I'm just gonna say this. I don't think we're getting out of the north side. Once again, bro, I've met you personally and I respect your opinion, but one thing I'm gonna say is you don't bring any actual solutions to what we can do this season. You just say the seasons are right off and we'll wait until the end of the season.
Just bring a solution.
No. Let me land. What you're saying is either we sack the manager as a solution, which is never going to happen, or we wait until the end of the season so you're proven right. And I just feel like we're basically going in a circle, the same thing that happened last year. You're basically telling us that this team is not good enough. This team wasn't good enough last year, and they're going to bottle it like the same way they did last year. And what we're trying to say is, what can we do internally that we already know are issues and we can solve instead of going out and making a big manager change or making a major signing? Because realistically, we have to look internally before we can go and say these are the things that we can get externally. And I've done enough talking. You're telling me I ain't bring a solution and make it super quick.
Sack the manager for someone that's actually qualified at his job.
Is that going to happen?
This is what I'm saying. If you're going to debunk everything I said, then what's the point of me bringing a solution?
No, I'm saying, is that going to happen?
You want my
This
solution?
is a back and forth. This is a back and forth. It's not a monologue. Is this going to happen? Yes or no?
It's not going to happen because the majority
Yes,
of the fan
then
base
how is
feel
that
like
a
you.
solution? So how is that a solution? Because people
it'll
like
be no change.
I could reiterate it and bring it to you also and say mentalities like yourselves. If the players and the manager have your mentality, we might as well pack it up and forget about the club. Because
because that's what we did with Wenger.
Every time we face adversity, you want to sack the manager, get rid of all the players. That's ridiculous. You have to.
No. Agal, don't make it sound like that. Agal, don't lie.
Bro, that's what you said.
You just Agal, how long have I ever been Arteta in? As long as you know me.
No.
Okay.
But that's even that makes it easier for you to basically belittle everything that's happening. Because you never believed in the first place, it's easier for you to jump off the ship anytime.
I have to be proven. Yeah. For me to lock down my girl, she had to prove to me that she was a good girl. I had to prove myself too. Trust is not just given, it's earned. It's earned.
What are we talking
about?
We're not talking about relationship dynamics, bro. We're not talking about relationship dynamics.
But it's the truth. Trust is earned. Trust is earned. Trust is not just given. People don't just trust someone.
If you pick the right person and you speak to them and you trust them and you have a conversation with them on a regular basis, you don't have to worry about them behind your back. Let's not talk about family dynamics. That's relevant.
No, I'm not talking about you, lot. I'm talking about me. It's the truth.
I know.
In any relationship, in any form, even a relationship that's not.
This is not a relationship with the wife.
Transactional.
This is
trust is earned.
1 second. What I'm saying is, you don't believe in the first place. You don't trust in the first place. Nothing they can do except win silverware will make you believe. So for the people who believe we can get there, they're going to try to find internal solutions or things and areas where we can improve on, because all of a sudden, all these players don't turn into dog shit. All of a sudden, the manager doesn't lose all his ability to pick the teams and change and make decisions in game to win us games. All of a sudden, things just don't go to shit for no reason. There's something that dynamics that change that you need to improve on. You can talk about excuses, but the reality is sometimes excuses are problems that you need to solve. And if you can solve those problems, we won't be here at the end of the year talking about the manager being sacked. We'll be here at the end of the year talking about us winning.
Yeah, but he's not solved those problems. That's the problem. The problems that lie at Arsenal have been here while he's been manager. Let's just talk about the last 4 years. Why have we never signed a right winger? Did you expect that Saka would never get injured or go out of form? Why'd you get you got rid of Aubameyang. Cool. Why don't you go out there and get a striker that can bang us the amount of goals? You know Odegaard is learning on the job. Why are you trusting this guy to be your main focal point and getting Fabio Vieira that's not good enough, that's coming from the Portuguese league, that is going to take a while for him to adjust, even if he is good enough? These are things that could have been avoided. Last season, why are you not getting a left-sided player that in some games that you do need a left-sided player that can defend to sit? These are things that he could have addressed. He chose not to address. And it's arrogance. And at my job, if I get a warning in my job, and I'm not improving, right? No, sir, next year, your target is this, and I don't do it. Then the next season, I don't do it. Eventually, I get sacked, which is why he needs to be sacked. He's not the guy. Why is it at Arsenal that he has to be the guy?
You're never going to. You're always going to have new problems. You're never going to solve every problem at every club. Even you have to find a way to manage to win with your issues that you have. Try to get the best out of what you have to capitalize on your strengths and to basically hide your weaknesses from your opponent. That's what we have to do. Instead of consistently saying, oh, this is what we're missing, this is what we're missing. He's been trying to use versatility to bypass the fact that we don't have some of these players that are playing in these positions. And guess what? He gets bashed for trying to use versatility. He gets bashed for playing players at left wing back. He gets bashed at playing players at left back, right back. Granit Xhaka had to fill in to cover for Zinchenko. Now, all of a sudden, everyone who's bashing Granit Xhaka are now saying we miss Granit Xhaka more than ever. I personally think we consistently are getting at the wrong problem. We talk about the Cronkies. The Cronkies paid the money. It's not their problem. We talk about the manager consistently. We talk about the manager consistently. Guess what? Yes, he is partly culpable, but he also can fix these issues. It's not the club. It's not the fans that have raised the standards of this club in the last couple of years. It's the players and the managers' performance consistently over a calendar year, which has raised our standards to believe that we can win this league title. It's not you or
Let me
us.
ask you a question,
Sorry, Dan. I just want to say something about the
Go
comments.
on, North.
Listen, people. Just because we're debating, yeah, me and Jess may not see eye to eye. Me and a gal may not see eye to eye. Me and Babs may not see eye to eye. I get a lot of abuse online. Yeah, I do.
We all do, bro. Have you not seen that?
That's not even a point I'm making. Some of the comments towards them, whether you agree with me or not, let's chill. Let's not get over personal and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't need to do all of that. Yeah, I don't care what people think about me online. You don't know me in real life. I don't condone that. So let's just chill, bro. Like, I don't know why you
Bro,
start
if you're talking to the chat, you're never gonna win.
No,
They call me names every day.
Yeah, but it's wrong though. So I'm gonna say I got a voice.
What can we do, bro? I
Nah,
come on your channel on Friday.
Chat. On my name, don't be abusing anyone, innit? If you don't agree with them, cool. Say you don't agree with them, but don't get personal about this and that. And I'm not gonna mention certain things people say. Chill, like chill.
No,
Bro.
I agree with you.
I agree with everything you've said. Let me just move this on because we can't come to a close, man. Let me just, and I want to do this to end. Then I've got some super chats to read out, right? This is a serious question for everyone, right? I understand. I actually agree with everything Northside just said in terms of if you agree or disagree. Let's not get personal, man. If they people are doing that in the chat, then I'll have to get you out, man. Listen, what is Jess? Let's start with you. What is an acceptable season for you this season? Because Mikel Arteta, whenever we lose, oh my God, it's a season over. Whenever we win, we're going to win the title. But you talk about balance, and I agree, and I like to think that I am. What is actually a good season for Arsenal Football Club? And you've got to be realistic about it, not winning trebles and shit.
Yeah. This is why, like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, people just need to let me land sometimes, because I've been speaking about over the last couple of days that if Mikel Arteta can't figure this out, he needs to be like, there has to be consequences for the big decisions that he's made over the last couple of months. Like, you just can't spend 60 million, 70 million on Kai Havertz and it not work. You can't switch out Ramsdale and Raya not be much better, because that's 100 million to me down the drain, and it's unacceptable. Because all we really needed was like 2 or 3 outstanding players to take it to the next level. We were very, very close. I thought last season we were very, very close. We had gaps, but we were close. And so I'm very feeling a little bit disenchanted with this whole season, just because I was upset that we went out of the Carabao Cup. Unlike a lot of other people, I was very upset, not because I rate the Carabao Cup, but because I just knew that the next person that we got in the FA Cup would be very difficult. I knew we were going to get somebody bad, and it's not easy, So I think for me, if we were not going to win the title, we have to be within a point. We have to push whoever wins it to the very end. It has to be very close, to the point where it's not laughable like it was last season. You cannot be so far off the pace. Right now, if it ended today, it would be unacceptable. 5 points to me is too far away. Now, he has to win some sort of silverware. And to me, the most winnable silverware that we have now is the FA Cup, and we have Liverpool. It's not looking good, because we're not winning the Champions League. I know some people think we're going to win the Champions. We're not. I'm sorry. I'll come back and I'll say I'm wrong, but we're not. He has to win some sort of silverware. And if he doesn't win the Premier League, it has to be close. Got to win something, because you made major decisions that could have been you look at players I know I hate to go back in time, but Kudus, you could have bought him for 40 million. It would have solved a lot of our problems that they're just there, I don't know. He made huge decisions and he's had a lot of time. I think he needs to win something, or else I don't think the conversation about moving on from the manager should be off the table. I think up until now, it's been a very touchy subject, but it shouldn't be after this season if he definitely doesn't win anything, if that makes sense.
I don't think
something.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. Obviously, depending on how the season ends, the conversation of Mikel Arteta can be brought up. But at this moment in time, I still believe this team has the capability to get back into this title race. And of course, the FA Cup, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. We beat Liverpool at home, and we can get an easy draw going forward and still be a possibility of winning that cup also. But the Champions League is always going to be difficult with an inexperienced squad in the Champions League and an inexperienced manager in the Champions League. I hear that.
But what if I said that I think that these players are closer to being title-winning players than he is to being a title-winning manager? Meaning, I think the players are closer than he is, These
So
players
then-
are much better than what he's getting out of them, in my opinion. Like, if it came down to it, I would rather sack Mikel Arteta than get rid of these players.
Doesn't that give you your answer then? We're basically he has this season to prove himself. I think a lot of people said at the beginning of the season, Mikel Arteta has this season to prove himself, and we'll find out if the squad has surpassed him. Because similar to how some of the players we talk about them as the squad has surpassed them, like Thomas Partey because of his injury issues, or some people talk about Emil Smith Rowe in that way because he hasn't played much. It could be that could become the situation with Mikel Arteta, but we'll only know, but if it gets to that stage. I don't think it's there yet. That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to lose Saka and Saliba and them off of the back of, like, do you see what I'm saying?
No,
like, we're never going to buy
absolutely
another
not.
Saliba, Saka, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're
Do you
not
think?
getting.
Do you think we're not going to let Mikel Arteta leave if there's a situation where we regress to like fourth in the league come the end of the season?
He's
I
not
really
going
do.
anywhere. He's not
I
going
think,
anywhere.
I think they would let him go if we did end up finishing fourth or something like that. I don't think it's a situation where it's out of the realm of possibility that they could look at him as a Brendan Rodgers. It's just at this moment in time, I still believe in him. I think the Cronkies, I think you guys are underestimating how much they want to win. They've been backing this manager for how many windows now? They definitely want to see some silverware.
I think we'll find that out this season, personally. I think we'll find out whether he is a Brendan Rodgers or that he could have the potential to be a top quality, world-class manager. And I think we'll find out from the Cronkies. If we get top four and we're trophyless and he stays, the Cronkies tell me everything I need to know about them not wanting to win. Because that, for me, is lack of ambition, personally. For me, he has to win a trophy and he's got 3 opportunities to do that. He should have 4, in my opinion, but he threw one of them away again. So now it's about making sure that you win the FA Cup or you win the Champions League or a Premier League. And, there's context. You get to a Champions League final against Real Madrid and you lose. There's no shame in losing to Real Madrid, who are European giants, right? You go and take Man City to the last game of the season and Man City win the league again. There's context. But if we lose to Liverpool in the FA Cup and we lose to Porto, I'm going to be asking serious questions as to where we're going. Because when do we just spend another 200 million in the summer and try and finally buy a striker after 4 years? Like, where do we go? So I think there's a lot that what Northside said is right. I understand that people disagree and agree. There's a lot I agree with. Me and Northside actually do agree on quite a lot. There's different ways I go about it, for sure, and he knows that. And I've told him that, right? But for me, I personally feel like we need to win something this year. And Mikel Arteta will be under pressure if he does not. Babs, where you at, bruv?
I don't think there's a single Arsenal fan disagrees that we should win something this season. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the same thing again. Win a title. That's what I want the most. FA Cup, that'd be nice. Champions League, I want a title. And I think if we can prove that, then Mikel deserves more and more time. But I think Mikel probably has one big summer left anyways. So I reckon if we finish second or third this year, he's still going to get a massive backing and he will get a big striker anyways. So the conversation then comes a bit boring. But for me, I want a title and I want that. That's my main goal. And anything other than a title will be very disappointed.
Igal?
Give me the league or the Champions League. That's what I've been asking for Mikel Arteta this year. We need to win a major trophy for the quality that we showed last season. We showed that we could go toe to toe in the title race. I don't think we just drop off a cliff that easily. I still think this team can do it, and I've been saying it throughout the whole stream. I think Mikel Arteta can make the right decisions. I don't believe the whole premise that everything needs to be perfect for him to win. All I think is, yes, it's been unfortunate that a couple of injuries have been going, and we need to just find a new tool to our armor that can maybe surprise teams. We now have a lot of time until our next game against Liverpool, and I'm just hopeful. But yeah, man, hopefully we can win the Premier League or the Champions League. If we don't, Mikel Arteta, we're gonna have another conversation about him then.
Northside, trophy or bust?
Yeah, win the Premier League or the Champions League or sack him. The process hasn't processed. Simple as that. I think it's very dangerous once again saying win something because, like I said, you got rid of Wenger because winning something wasn't enough. We wanted to win the league. So if we sack the legend based off of that, let's not change the narrative a couple of years down the road. It is about winning major honours. And unlike the last 10 years of Wenger, I can say this manager's had money. So what's the excuse? The longest excuse we had since the Emirates era was we don't have money. We have to pay the stadium. No longer those constraints. So I don't want to hear it. And people are telling me about Pep. Well, Wenger had to deal with Fergie. So what's the difference? What's the difference? They were getting the best players in the league: Berbatov, Tevez. They were
I
going
agree
out
with
and
that.
getting Ronaldo.
The of Man City are there. What we supposed to do? That I don't buy that. I'm afraid. So I'm with you, man. Listen, let's fly through these super chats and then we'll get out of here. James, big up, says, wasn't the whole point of bringing in a false nine like Jesus was to attenuate the quality of your wide goal scorers? Is the controlled style messing with this? I think the style thing is a massive issue. And Gabriel Jesus, I love him, but I feel we need an Ivan Toney or something this summer, at this window. Sorry. In my opinion, in January. Bro_93 says, I don't know how the deluded top gooners got this much patience to keep waiting for a major trophy. I lost my patience 10 years ago. Big up down the north side. This one comes in from Rye27_96, who says, Northside, stand up and rise as you're spot on with our fan base. Like, I don't know why it takes us so long to see the signs of things not working. Igal, Bav, and Jess, why do you three have so much faith in Mikel? There we go. I'm not so sure that they have been here saying they have massive faith in Mikel stream, but there we go. This one comes in from Datch, who says, why isn't overlapping and he's struggling to make recovery runs? He's clearly got something physical going on. I'm not going into that one again. I ain't getting Jess mad again. This one comes in from Cliff, who says, all right, ladies and gents, what have I missed so far? See, I'm just in time to see Northside's truth bombs go on, my son. Taryn T says it's hard to hear for some fans, but Northside is speaking the truth. Bro93 says I need Northside to sing Toxic and Negative. You might have missed that. You might have to wind back. He did sing it a little bit, bro. I heard it earlier.
What's Toxic and Negative?
Yeah. Go on,
Is this
Northside.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's
Wanting to win at Arsenal. You're being toxic and negative. Toxic and negative. You're being toxic and negative.
There we go. I've been on 10 minutes. It's all click worthy. Cheers, you lot. Big up, Cliff. Much appreciated. Warren Grant says, I have to say, Potts and Northside. I really should read these before I flick them up. Only ones keeping the standards. Only thing I'm with the others on is Conte not being guaranteed for us to win based on Spurs. I'd rather an Enrique. I don't want Enrique, trust me. Conte, yeah, he's got the Tottenham allergy now. He can stay where he is. Jamie Allen, as a Spurs fan, this is great. As an outsider looking in, I agree with Northside and his views. Cliff said, Jess is balanced. That is real talk. Big up, Jess. Big up, Cliff. And this one comes in from Mats, who says, this has to be the lowest panel. Igal, please do explain how 7 Arsenal players make the Madrid 11. Okay, enough of that one. As I say, I should read them up before I fling them up. I know Igal can take it, though, because he's a real one. Listen, guys, we're going to leave it there. So that going to go?
I said, just because people are going to try to cook you doesn't necessarily mean you're always wrong.
Well, there you go. There we go, man. There we go. Listen, it has been a pleasure, man. And I want to thank all my guests for coming on. Honestly, you've been great as always. That's why I always get you on. Igal, let people know where they can follow you, my friend.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, EGTV Egal, and I'm on YouTube also, Egal Talks Football. I'm also on TikTok, Egal Talks Football. So yeah, check me out. I'm gonna be live actually at 9 if you guys want to check it out. I got a whole panel show. These guys have been waiting to talk to me after that loss, so it's gonna be peak. But hey, what can we do?
Well, listen, make sure you head straight over. You'll be redirecting, so just don't go anywhere. You'll head over to Igal stream and you can wait for 9 o'clock and go watch him. Babs, likewise, bruv. What you got coming up?
Don't follow me. I'm a top gooner, and I'm delusional, and all I do is to support Mikel Arteta. All I care about is Arteta. Don't follow me, please. Because I'm toxic and negative.
Yeah, he's just toxic and positive. Toxic and positive.
That's a new one.
Make sure you do go over to Babs though. Big up, man. Go Babs 14. You'll know what he's on. He's on every platform, man. You'll definitely. If you're not following Babs, then I don't really know where you are. Jess, likewise, what are you up to, go?
Well, I would say come to my channel and watch me at 9, but Igal's live. So you guys can, I guess, watch me after on replay. But you guys can just go to She Knows Arsenal. You guys can just go on She Knows Arsenal on YouTube. That's where you'll find my balanced channel. For those of you guys who have actually watched it, Northside, I know you have not, but you can tune into the next stream and find out what I have to say. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and you guys in the chat, you guys should know this by now. I've heard everything under the sun about myself, and I have not stopped yet.
Absolutely. There we go.
Oh, she's chopping up.
Your
I don't know what
Wi-Fi.
to tell you guys. I'm not going anywhere. So
There we go. You're
Best
back and
believe
you're not
it,
going
yes.
anywhere.
Everybody
the
would have
move.
backed it up if they cared what people said.
Oh, listen, yeah, you got to have thick skin for what we do, my God. Otherwise, you'll just stop the channel and go sit and have a drink and chill. North side, come on, man. Big up. Let them know where to find you.
Northside LDN. Yeah. On YouTube. Yeah, putting out content every day. So yeah, man, come over. Yeah, do your thing, innit? It's up to you, innit? Like, yeah, Northside LDN. Love Dan for getting me on. Big up to the panel, whether we agree or disagree. It is what it is. And it would be a boring stream, I guess, if everybody does agree. But there can only be one winner at the end of the season, and I'm not of the bottle. I think I'm the special one.
Hopefully,
So,
that winner is Arsenal.
yeah, I'm not of the bottle. End of the season, I think I'm the special one, and we can review this at the end of the season. Love.
Love for it, man. Listen, love to all of you guys as well, man. Love being here. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you go and follow all of these guys, man. Make sure you go and follow every single one of them. Like, subscribe, and make sure you do the same on this channel. We're out of here, man. Up the Arsenal. Peace.